Hello and welcome to Grant's Game Room. I'm Grant Wiley from Worthington Publishing, here to bring you another edition of Grant's Game Room. Today, rather than a straight up game review, I'm going to do an unboxing and component review of GMT's Next War Poland. I'd been talking for some time about my interest in the Next War series, and someone was kind enough to hook me up with a copy of Next War Poland, which just has been come out. So we'll do that in a second. First, a little bit of housekeeping. I've been away for a bit with some family stuff going on, but I'm back and we're going to do a unboxing video today. And tomorrow I'll be posting a game review of Holdfast Korea 1950-1951, one of our published titles. And then on Friday I'll have Grant's Game News. So we got a lot of good game stuff coming up this week leading into the Christmas weekend. And then on Tuesday I'll be back with another game review, and that will probably be either an Academy Games title or a GMT title. I'm debating between Academy 1812, which is one of my absolute favorite games. It got me into Academy Games, or GMT's Next War Poland. It depends on how much time I get over the weekend to read the rules. I will say that I have not read the rules to this. I've started reading them. I've already taken off the shrink wrap because I could not wait to do this. And let's get into this. Let me grab my glasses here real quick so I can show you everything. First, this deals with a future war between in Poland, and the Russians invade and NATO responds. This game's a little more complex than what I've been playing recently, so it's going to take me a bit to wrap my head around. But box art, let's look at the box here, and I'm going to post some pictures of these. It shows Next War. It's got some fighter jets on top, soldier tanks. Nice looking box. I think it kind of draws you into the topic. The back, you get a picture of the map, some promotional blurb here. I call it sizzle. Some pictures of the counters, complexity, solitaire suitability, and just some production, game credits. Let's go ahead and pop this baby open and get into what's in the box. The very first thing I see is the Next War Poland Standard and Advanced Series rules. I like the two series rules. You've got the standard rules, which run from pages apparently 2 to 21, and then the Advanced Series rules, which go from 22 to 44. Rules, let's just look at the standard series rules, because if you're like me and have never played one of these and have an interest, goes through an introduction, components, standard sequence of play. You have a weather phase, initiative phase. There's air power, sea control and naval rules, movement, combat, standard, reinforcements, replacements, and victory. So at least the standard series of rules sounds very war game standard. I don't know how else to say it. The Advanced Series rules go through advanced rules for all of these, and I think it gets into, from what I've read, more of the air power. The air power rules really explode here on the Advanced Series rules. Game's supposed to be solitaire friendly, meaning you can play it solitaire, but there's no solitaire engine. You open it up, standard 2-column game rules, explanations, unit sizes over here to the side. Looks like it's pretty standard. Attack, defense, and movement factors. You've got combat support for the aircraft and a range for those. Breakdown in the introduction of a glossary of the terms, components. I will say that these rules do look pretty dense. And when I say dense, not a lot of graphics here. These are a lot of words. I'm halfway through the standard series, and I'm not seeing a ton of graphics. Not that you necessarily need them when you're explaining rules, but it just tells you that this is a little more complex than the standard light war game. But it seems well organized. From what I've started reading so far, it seems pretty well organized. I was able to follow it pretty well. And the advanced game rules definitely look like you're getting into, you know, a lot more game here. When I do my review of this, I'll probably just be doing the standard game. I don't have anybody that will play me in this, I don't think, at this level. But very well organized, good looking rules, good size font. I can read them, no problem with my glasses. We're going to flip by the maps here real quick because with these, of course, you get 10-sided die. And something GMT does that I love, the plastic baggies, the mini plastic baggies for storing your counters. I actually prefer them to counter trays because I can write right on the bag exactly what the pieces are. Air units, NATO, whatever it need be. Okay, next War Poland, you get into game-specific rules. And from the look of it, this goes up to 31 pages, but GMT's gotten to where they do these supplemental books that are excellent. They show detailed examples of play. I haven't really looked at this one, but it talks about the differences in weather, and there's a strategic map here. So it comes with two 22 by 34 maps, one a map of Poland, the other of the Baltic region. And the Baltic region, we'll pull it out here in a sec, is more of a display map and is handled more abstractly than the actual hexes here in Poland. Supply and isolation, detection of order of battle scenarios, designer notes. You get more graphics typically in their extra books or supplemental books, and I do see definitely more. Talks about the weather specific effects here, the U.S. Marine Corps, movement and naval affairs, Polish border guards, strategic display. Now I think this is where it'll get a little more complex with this one. In the standard game, combat, mixed nationalities, subordination, reinforced supply and isolation, theater warfare. I got some gaming to figure out. But man, I just got such an interest in this, I gotta try it. Also, Compass Games has just come out with Brezhnev's War, and this fascinates me too. It's 1980s. U.S., NATO, and the Soviet Union at the time. Scenarios, standard scenarios, Suwalki Gap, 3-turn scenario, probably teach you how to play. Red Storm, the Baltic Invasion. What else we got? Operation Arctic Storm, retaking the Baltic. Siege of Warsaw. Defense of the Baltics, and then you get into advanced scenarios. Jeez. Strategic surprise. Tactical surprise. A lot of surprises going on here. But a very nice looking playbook here. Order of battle notes. Talking about the ground forces and the different nations. And then designer notes, which I always love reading, because if you don't understand a rule sometimes, if you read the designer notes, it may explain what you don't understand. You know, you get the idea behind what was being attempted with certain rules. I think designer notes need to be included on all games. So, just my 2 cents here. Nice looking rule book. Okay. Next War Poland, let's start with the strategic map. It's a 22 by 34. These are paper maps. They're not hard maps, and they're not cardstock. Okay, that covers up my giant head. So it's a good size map here, and you see the Baltics. I'm just going to kind of flip this open. A little more... looks like for the air missions, keeping track of your planes which have flown missions, planes which haven't. Looks like it gets into, you know, maybe striking some of the bases and taking those out. I see game track here with the weather, initiative, electronic detection, first, SOF, air, naval. So it's your order of play, sequence of play here, kept on this map. And then next we're Poland, the main map. This is a good quality paper map. This isn't going to tear up easy. Standard war game. You get, you know, your Polish terrain. The hexes are large. I like larger hexes. I can't go with half-inch counters anymore. Pretty standard war game ease, guys. I'll post a little bit closer picture of this to give you an idea. But cities and villages, mountains, woods, water terrain, you know, lakes, rivers, roads. Looks interesting. Now, geez, I was amazed at the amount of paper in this game. NATO and U.S. setup sheets. U.S. reinforcement schedule. Standard and advanced game tables. Air tables. Lots. GMT's great at putting in the player aids. They don't scrimp. Advanced game table, so I don't have to have this out when I play. So that's one I'll set aside. A second set of advanced game tables. Standard sequence of play, and on the back, advanced air, game air defense. There's a lot to the sequence of play, but I think this is great because I can just, as I learn the game, walk down these steps, almost like a checkoff sheet, and make sure I'm hitting each one. If I got a question, I can go to the rules and read it and learn it that way. Advanced game sequence of play. I won't be needing this anytime soon. And this is a front and a back. So there is a lot of steps to this, but I think in a future board, it's going to be more complex. Terrain effects table, combat results table. I see two here, so each player can have one, which I always like. And counters. And I believe these are 9/16" counters. Just says 4 counter sheets, but these look 9/16 or 5/8. I see one. Lots of colors, good colorful, look good on the map. Sheet 1. Good quality counters, not as thick as some, but you know, it's a war game. You got a lot of counter sheets in here. They got a lot of production in this. It's a nice looking game. Looks like control markers, terrain, clearing, destroyed. So, yep, control markers and other markers. And air units and more markers. So it looks like there is 2 sheets of markers with some combat units. And really there's not a ton of combat units. I kind of dig that. On the counters, and I'm going to show you a zoomed in picture of this rather than me holding it. But on the left in a black circle is the stacking points. Guys, that is one of my favorite things. Either tell me how many units I can stack or give me a stacking point. You know, you can have 6 stacking points in a hex, or 4 or 3. Don't make it vary by terrain. That drives me nuts in a game, you know, where you've got 20 different types of terrain, and as you move through it, you have to unstack, restack. Just keep it simple. And from what I've read so far, you can overstack, but only 4 stacking points can attack or defend out of a hex, although it affects all defenders. Pretty cool looking, guys. I can't wait to dig my claws into this. I will do a gameplay review as good as I can. I'm hoping to get a lot of gaming time over the holiday weekend. With that being said, I just wanted to give you a quick view of that. Nice looking game. GMT does quality products, as do most companies nowadays. with that being said, I'm going to put this away. I am going to, like I said, have a Hold Fast Korea 1950-1951 game review for tomorrow. And then on Friday I'll have game news. So I'm going to push out 3 videos this week versus only 2. With that being said, your job today is to play a game. Teach a game. And if somebody wants to teach me how to play this, I'd appreciate it. And maybe a happy gaming. Happy gaming today. Hope you get to play a game. Hope you get to teach a game. But most of all, happy gaming. And see you tomorrow.